Cafe night. It's Wednesday night, and we're ready to roll. If you don't have your mugs, just go ahead. We still have music. I feel like dancing. So, if you have your mugs, if you don't have your mugs because you think you're heading to bed, wine glasses will work, champagne glasses will work, whatever you fancy. So we're up again on cafe night, and tonight we have another co-host with us. You've probably seen her on one of our previous Creative Chat Cafe, but she's back because we love her that much because she's an expert in this field, and she's Kenya Helly Burton from My Content Planner. Woohoo! Woohoo! And she's from down South Alabama. So welcome back, Kenya. We'd love to have you back. And did you get your mug?
You know what? I left. I was chasing my kids out of the room, and I left it in the kitchen. So I don't have it tonight.
Yeah, so we're gonna get ready, and we're rolling. Oops, sorry, my camera just went out of focus. So now, okay, great. So it's back cafe night. If you don't know what cafe night is, Creative Chat Cafe, we get online, hang out together. It's a hangout on air, just like you're watching right now. It's a live broadcast. We're 5 minutes late tonight. Again, Google is constantly changing stuff and throwing us curveballs, and we still have to fight with the technology. But you know what? We have this love for Google Hangouts on air because we know this is a great platform for us to deliver our message and content to you. So talking about content, if you've never been on any of our Creative Chat Cafe shows, so we get together, hang out, and we talk about helping you and your business teams grow your business online, and primarily focus on teaching you how to market and manage your business virtually, because nowadays we work online, right, Kenya? Everything is online, right? So, yeah. This show will bring you information and also, provide you training, free training for some of you guys who need answers for some of the aspects of your business process. So we bring this to you. So tonight we're talking about 5 important goals to set when developing content. So before we even get started, so if you guys are out there tweeting, on Twitter, make sure you hashtag us. I want to say POW, but I want to say hashtag Creative Chat Cafe or hashtag CCC, and that is us, and we truly appreciate it. Spread the love, folks. Spread the love, okay? So we're going to talk about content because I know many of you out there, business owners, if you have your own, website, if you're doing social media, if you're doing lots of other stuff, you're continually trying to find the right content for your business, right? For your audience, so that your audience will find value in what you do, and they get to benefit from what you have to offer. So tonight we're bringing in Kenya because this is what she does on a day-to-day basis. She helps people to find content. For me, I love to do visual content. So I've always told Kenya I don't relate with text. That's why we're doing Creative Chat Cafe, and it's online. You can see us smile, you can see us make fun of ourselves. But Kenya, so let's get started and maybe talk a little bit about what are the 5 most important things for us to set when developing content? We're talking about 5. What would you say the number 1 thing that we all have to think about? The goals that we have to set when we think about developing content, because it's not easy, right? When we start developing content, because it takes a little bit of thinking.
Yes, yes. Well, I would say that the number one goal, because we're in business, is, obviously to make money. And so when we're talking about sales, ooh, somebody's jamming on the one right there.
I know, yeah. We want it is Creative Chat Cafe, right?
Yeah.
I can hear back. I can hear kids music or what kids show in the back. Who has the TV on?
That's not me.
We have Creative Chat Cafe. We feel like we're making believe that we're sitting in a cafe. So I'm being comfortable right now, putting on some music.
Yeah. Yes, I love it. Yeah, so sales obviously would be a key goal. But even before you get to sales, when you're creating content, you kind of have to understand that content exists to do two things. Number one, you need to provide the most relevant answer to the question your target audience is asking. So you want to be creating content that's relevant to their needs and problems and the things that they're typing into the search engines to get help for. Then the second thing is that when you create content, it needs to tie back to some clearly defined business objectives. And so that's when we really get into the goals. And so I always like to really start with the sales goal, because you really want to identify, okay, how much am I wanting to make, every month?
Right.
Okay, and so once you identify that, and you're looking like, some people set out their 10-year, 5-year, 1-year income goal. And so then you kind of backtrack from that and you figure, a lot of people are like, well, what does money have to do with creating a blog post? It has everything to do with it.
There you go. True, very true. Very true.
It has everything to do with it. And so what you do is you start with your income goal, you figure out how much you're going to make each month, and then you figure out what business model you're going to use in order to achieve that goal. And so it's that what is going to help you determine what type of content you need to create for your business. And a lot of people do, like, they just kind of jump into stuff like, oh, well, everybody's saying I need to be on social media, or everybody's saying I need to be blogging, and you just kind of get out there and you do it, and then you get frustrated because it's not really getting you the results that you want. And a lot of times it's because it's not, some of the stuff that you're doing may not be necessary for your particular business model and for your particular income goals.
And also for your audience, right? For instance, if you're a food business, you're putting out sports content, you're like, oh, so
exactly.
That doesn't work, right?
Exactly, exactly. So you want to be clear on who you're talking to, what their interests are, and what their problems are. So yes, number one would be sales. Get clear on your sales goals, right? Mm-hmm. The second goal that you can, set up to achieve is brand awareness. So, a lot of times we're creating content just to get our name out there, like what you're doing here with the Creative Chat Cafe. It's a great platform for getting people to know you exist, helping people to connect with you and what you do and your personality, and decide for themselves whether this is a good fit for them. And so brand awareness is really, what do you want to be known for? And so, you're the high-tech, high-touch marketing strategist. And so
but you know what, Kenya, that's not an easy thing to do, especially with the brand awareness, because people tend to like think one thing, they want one thing today, and next week they'll say, oh, maybe this is not me. How easy is that to kind of switch in between content, or how important for us to narrow down the content to match the brand so that there's no confusion? Because I know with us it's hard, it's not easy, because brand awareness, especially, it's ongoing, and you're always trying to figure things out, and then as you figure things out, your content changes. When it changes, you're like, so what would you kind of recommend there? I mean, it's hard to do content to create brand awareness or even to match it. So what can we do from time to time?
Yeah, so what you want to do, one of the questions you want to ask yourself is, first of all, again, ask that question: what do I want to be known for? And you really want to figure out what you're comfortable with. You want to know what your resources are. Are you a person that likes to write? Do you have or not? Right, because you want to first identify what is plausible for you to commit to before you kind of jump in. So if a lot of people say you need a blog, and blogs are very great for building brand awareness, building your business. But if you're only going to blog like once every a month or maybe 1 month and then 3 months later, it really is not going to help you.
Exactly.
So what's going to fit your passion, your personality, and set you up for how you want to be perceived and how you want your target audience to feel. So like, with your energy, with what you're creating here, it's like, you want people to feel like they can have a conversation about different things that are going on in their business and get the help that they need in a really non-threatening way.
Exactly.
And so that's what you want people to feel. You want them to feel approachable. You want them to feel like this is the person that I can just go to get the help that I need if I need help with marketing, if I need help with figuring out this technology stuff.
Right.
So you really got to do some of that soul searching and figure out, okay, who am I? How do I want to be seen in the market? You got to work and you got to commit to it because, like you said, it is a process, and sometimes you might set out on one course and decide, this is not really working for me. Let me try another way. And so what I suggest to people is start off with commit to a strategy for at least 3 months and see how it works. And keep your eye on tracking and that kind of thing.
What's the average, as we develop content to raise awareness? Because I know, because everything when it comes to marketing, because content is part of a marketing strategy, and we're always constantly changing and growing our content and developing content. And when you say, what do you say, 30 days?
I said at least 3 months.
3 months, 90 days, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that time, so like, for instance, if somebody wants to really blog, right? So, or even do video blog, or even do podcast as content, so they should try it out for at least 90 days to kind of see how that works for them, and also how their audience kind of perceives that content and how it works well, and then track it, correct?
Correct. Yes. You definitely want to set up some sort of measurement. And because, you might start off really excited about doing like a video series, and then you might decide as you kind of get into it, like, oh, this is kind of too much. I really don't want to spend this much time. I want to do something that's more manageable. You know what I mean? But you have to at least see because if your audience is responding to it, it only makes sense to continue to do it.
Very true. So so what we have 2 now with the brand awareness. So what's the third one, Kenya? Because I know we're going through about 5 tonight. What are the other things that we need to talk about, when they set a goal? One of the things that you that I always brought to you is like, I'm like, I don't do well with text, people. I just don't, We're so visual, especially with me, I had to figure, so with us at Entrepreneurs at SOAR, we had to figure out, what worked for us, For right now, our brand is all about providing new media marketing strategies, how to market and manage your business virtually. Basically, growing an online business. So we had to figure out ways to come through as visual as we can. I'm not saying that we don't do content in text. We do, because you and I know in marketing we always have, in developing content, you want to give options, because our audience may not be like us, all of them, they may like a lot of what we're doing, but we also want to give options, correct? Because sometimes other people process it differently than we do. But what I found with us in branding ourselves, providing content visually works with us, because you and I know I could jump off the roof and people would really like watch me do that because it's so visual, because
Yes.
I'm such a visual person, and I think I connect with the audience visual. So, for
Yes.
instance, uh, uh, how does one person or one business owner really determine, do I do podcasts? Do I do videos? Do I do text? Of course, we have the 90-day process, but,
Yes.
for instance, like a health coach, right?
Yes.
If they're trying to decide, wait, do I do images and then put it on my blog and then see how it works for 90 days? And then before they know it, their competitor probably is looking at videos or podcasting. Should they probably just switch over to, I wouldn't say switch over, maybe add on and try that aspect for 90 days also? What do you
Yes.
think?
Yes, it's a very you want to be flexible. You want to be able to move. And
Mm,
what I like to tell people is always start from your marketing plan or your vision for your business. And so one of the things we don't want to do is really get into comparison. You definitely want to look at what your competitors are doing. But you have to, sometimes with this, you have to really become laser focused. Okay. So if you decide that you're going to go down the path of setting up, a blog, all right, or doing a teleclass, you
right.
are really laser focused on the results that you're trying to achieve. And so you're going to put everything that you have into creating something, whether it be a blog post, whether it be video, whether it be a podcast, teleclass, webinars, whatever it is that you decide to do, you're going to want to invest that effort and stay laser focused to ensure that you get the best results. Because what happens is a lot of people start jumping. It's like, okay, well, this person is doing a blog or this person is doing video. I got to do video. But you
Yeah.
haven't really sat down and mapped it out.
Right.
And that's what
Right.
causes you to fall off. So I would say, really have that. It goes back to the branding, because the branding is really a part of, that planning phase and figuring out who you are and how you want to be represented. Because there are other people that maybe do play in the same arena that you do that won't even touch a Google Hangout, right?
That's so true.
It's a, we know that. But they're like, I'm gonna do these blogs, or I'm gonna do, these other. I'm gonna try this because this is what I'm most comfortable with, and
Right.
so you got to work in your lane and work with your resources.
And, and I think
And so there's content that works well with different goals.
And also look at where your audience is, right?
Yes. Absolutely, because again, you'll go back to those two reasons why you're creating content in the first place, is to, answer the issues that your target audience is asking. So you got to be clear on what it is they want and need when you're creating your content. Another goal that people need to set is like list building, lead generation, and lead conversion of content. So what does that content look like? It can look like a number of things. It can be a blog post with a call to action at the bottom, like I want you to sign up for this, I want you to buy this.
Good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With lead generation, you want to identify, okay, how many people do I want to add to my list? So if you're new, a good goal would be, okay, in the next 12 months, I want to add 1,000 people to my list.
Right.
So then it's like, what content would work for me to hit that goal? And you have to be consistent with it. So if you're going to kill it with a blog, you got to be consistent with it. If you're going to do a video series like this, you got to be consistent with it. So you just have to figure out what that thing is, what is going to best suit your resources, your talents, your gifts, and what your audience want, and then go with it.
Absolutely. And I think, Ashley and I were just talking today. We were looking at another way to spread your content, and our heads were just spinning right after that conversation because we know there's so many ways to deliver your content these days. And, we're always, trying to figure out, what works for us, right?
Yeah.
And this is the part where we're trying to see, how will people see my content? And you said about, like, not everybody wants to go to Google Plus. They all probably are just from Facebook, because everybody probably has a Facebook account,
Yeah.
because they started there. And we all know this, in social media. If we're doing social media training, it's a constant topic because
Yeah.
people are saying, somebody in Facebook may already be comfortable in Facebook and they don't want to go to Google Plus. But I think if you're from a business point of view, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you want to spread your message and your content as fast as possible, reach people more often, and maybe try to get so here's my approach to, like, how will people see your content. I feel like, how when you build hotels or you build homes into on different continents, say you have a Howard Johnson or a Hilton hotel, you might want to do one in Georgia and then one in New York. So you're trying to build real estate in, locations that you could probably grab the locals' attention.
Yeah.
So my approach to, I'm not saying that you should do every social media platform, but like you said, Kenya, you got to know where your audience is, right?
Absolutely.
So if Facebook is where it is, and you might want to try out for 90 days in Facebook, and then you can always try to find a different platform. If you feel like you have a more professional audience, that you might want to be in LinkedIn. And I think it's important, isn't it? It's just real estate on the World Wide Web, correct?
Yeah, and what you want to do, you definitely want to know where your customers are, your prospects are, in order to engage them. If your people aren't Facebook people, then it's pointless to be on Facebook. It does not just about being everywhere and just hoping that something sticks. It's about being strategic. And so one place that I direct people to a lot is, if you know that the people you're targeting are part of any kind of forums, any kind of associations, that kind of thing, then that is a great place. And Facebook has Facebook groups, LinkedIn has LinkedIn groups. There's a lot of different places where you can get in there and find a saturated place where people are hanging out that you want to reach. So you just want to be strategic. And I tell people, you create a list of the places that you're absolutely, every time you launch something, every time you're promoting something, you know what groups, what platforms you're going to post to, so that if you're doing it or if you have a team member doing it, then those are the places that people constantly see you. And then you generate your buzz from there. And again, you track all of that to make sure that it's working for you.
And that's the hardest part for some people, because there's confusion already in creating content. There's confusion already in that fear of where do I post that? Where do I use? And then you want me to do what? Track. So folks, it's true. That's a lot of things that you have to do when you plan your content. It's just not one or the other. You cannot really just choose one or the other. It's part of a package. So you have to take some time and then, get around people like, Kenya, myself, people who can actually help you work out the kinks in your content planning, right, Kenya? Because you actually have to brainstorm these things, because you can't just sit down and then just like plan and then think that is the best plan, because you might want, if you want to do something successful, you want to work with people who have done it successfully. So you want to get together with people who will help you get through it. So the Creative Chat Cafe was designed to address that issue. So come back and get together with us. There's a lot of topics coming up. So I just kind of want to check. I'm not sure if we have any questions coming in, and just to kind of run through. So Kenya, let's just kind of run through the 5. I remember the first thing you mentioned was think about pretty much it's a purpose, right? It's the sale. So you're in business to make sale, right? So your purpose of the content is to actually result in a sale. So that's pretty much your number 1. And then what was number 2? We mentioned about
brand awareness.
Number 2? Brand awareness, because we have to make sure our content really match our brand, because we can't say A and then we provide a content that says D, because then that's going to be conflicting.
The brand awareness is about building that know, like, and trust factor, and you have to have that in order to get the sales.
Exactly. And number 3 was?
Number 3 is the lead generation and conversion. You got to have people to market to, so you always want to be thinking about how can you create content to generate more people to expose your products and services to and your help to over a period of time.
And number 4?
And number 4 is website traffic.
Okay.
You know, we have our blog posts, we have our websites, and what we want to do is lead people to our websites. I always say your website is HQ of your online presence. And
There you go.
so, you know, yeah, so whenever you're creating a blog, whenever you're on social media, your purpose a lot of times should be to drive people back to your website to do something.
And the last one, we talked about where would you post your content.
Yeah, and so the last one that I actually want to submit is thought leadership. Positioning yourself as an expert and setting yourself up to create strategic partnerships with other people who, you know, can create a win-win. So other people who may be able to serve your market in a different way, but you guys can team up and do something fantastic that will benefit you both. And a lot of times you see that in like webinars, things like this, you know, when you're partnering up with other people that have some expertise that you want to showcase to your audience, and then you can get some exposure because they have an audience as well. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah.
Absolutely. That's, I think, the greatest thing, and I think many people don't do that very well because they think that, why should I partner with you? I'm coming from a mindset always about collaboration, about how we can help one another, right?
Yeah.
And don't ever feel that they're competitors, because you may never know, what they're going to refer to you, who they're going to refer to you, right? Because if the collaboration would be, much stronger when people see you collaborate with other partners. They think, wow, they have more to offer. And I've always approached the business like that. And that's a great point there, Kenya. And thank you for sharing. And I know we're kind of, coming down to the end. I don't know if probably Ashley, do you have any questions maybe, or we're getting any questions from Facebook or YouTube, anything coming in?
No, but I did want to know, like, can you ever, like, spread yourself too thin when it comes to content marketing? Like, I have a blog, and I know my audience is, like, the younger generation, so they want videos, they want blog reading, they want Twitter, and, like, can you start?
They want it all.
Yeah, you can, yes.
You put on each.
Yes, so too thin, and so that's why it's always important to first start with your, I would say, signature communication. So, okay, like, for example, Zeph would have, so if you're going to do like a video blog, right, you can start with a video blog, and from the video, you can, pull different key points out and put that to make it interesting for people who maybe just want to skim and see, okay, do I want to watch this video, and that kind of thing. But the other trick to really, if you absolutely are in a place where people actually want you in different places, the key to getting that done is to pre-create or pre-schedule your content in advance. So if like, I know Zeph will have, Zeph, you'll have like, okay, next month you're hitting certain topics.
Yep.
And so what you can do, if you already know that's coming up, as far as social media goes, you have social media dashboards that allow you to pre-schedule content, right? So you just preload that content in there and sync it. Like if you have a blog, you can sync it. If you have a blog post coming out, or a video coming out next month on a certain topic on the 18th, then you can go into your social dashboard and just say, okay, I'm going to promote the heck out of this on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and just add those posts so that on the 18th you don't even have to be on there. I mean, and you can focus on doing the next video or the next, you know what I mean? So you have to pre-plan if you want to have that everywhereness type of feel to whatever it is you're doing.
Very true. I mean, it all comes down to planning, right? That is why when we started Creative Chat Cafe, because we're seeing like everybody's talking about marketing, everybody's talking about this, that, the same thing, and I'm like, who's teaching people to manage their stuff?
Yeah.
It's really easy to just tell people this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and everybody goes home like with this face and go like, what? Right? What do you want me to do? And it's hard because they don't know how to manage a campaign, how to manage your content. That's why we're very passionate about bringing the management part of, teaching them to manage everything, because virtually, because we all know everything now is so cloud based, everything's online. So we want to bring that value to Creative Chat Cafe. But you know what, folks, we're almost to the end of the hour, of the half an hour. But I just wanted to, really say thank you to Kenya for coming back to Creative Chat Cafe, because we love having her. She's one of our woohoo people. So just to kind of remind you guys of what's coming up, if you're watching this, right? If you want to know what's coming up in September, it's going to be a really cool September for everybody, because in September, our theme for September is web-based tools to help simplify and help automate your business process. When people say simplify and automate, you're like, okay, less stress, less time on the computer, because we're teaching you how to, find the right tools, to probably help you, manage with a little less stress, And some of these tools are pretty much, very affordable, but they actually, bring high impact. They give you good results. So next week's Creative Chat Cafe, the first one we're doing is comparing email marketing tools and how to choose the right one for your business, because there's tons out there, right? You can spend from nothing to $100 a month, looking for an email marketing software. So next week, I actually have a co-host, Lance Prague, who's coming on to kind of do a comparison so that you can see which email marketing platform works for you and your business, because choosing the right one is important, and you want to make sure there's no holes in your pocket when you're using it, right, Kenya? Because always budgeting, right? So thank you, folks, for watching Creative Chat Cafe. This has been a great night, and we'll see you next week. Kenya, thank you so much for being with us all the way from Alabama. This Google Hangout on Air makes it happen so cool, isn't it?
Yes.
You don't have to be here. But folks, thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
You're most welcome. We love you, man. We love you, girlfriend. So we'll see you next time. Good night, folks. Enjoy our closing credits. Bye-bye.
Bye.